Rebellions are built on hope.
Incoming transmission. Radio Rebellion.
Welcome to another episode of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. I am your host, as always, Alberto Calderon. Thank you for being here on another great Saturday evening, talking Star Wars, as always. Thank you guys for taking a couple of minutes, hours, I don't know. We always say we'll be here for an hour. Sometimes we go long, sometimes we keep it short. It doesn't matter. We're talking Star Wars. We're having fun today. We have some great topics to talk about and some great guests. You've seen them before. You heard them here. You heard them on their podcast. So can't wait to bring them up. And we have a lot of fun today, talking Star Wars, talking the Bad Batch, what else? Andor, and everything else that's happening out there. Who knows, right? It's Star Wars. And if you follow Star Wars social media, if you're on Twitter, man, that's a roller coaster. You got to stay away from it. But how you guys doing? Quiet week for the most part. I was watching In the Heights this morning before starting here. I know it's not Star Wars, but they do mention Obi-Wan Kenobi at one point, so it all connects. So yeah. So I don't know. I'm lost today. I told my guests I'm tired. My kids woke me up early, so I'm a little bit slow, but we'll get going. So as always, you guys know, if you're watching this live, thank you. If you're in the chat, make sure to give us a like. Let us know in the comments if you're watching this later what you thought of the Bad Batch in general. Episode 7, we're almost halfway. Next week, we'll be at the halfway point. We're talking about some Andor casting rumors. Very excited for that series, so let us know. Comment, subscribe, like the video, subscribe to our channel if you're watching this or listening to this, I should say, later on the audio podcast. We're everywhere. You know where to find us. Make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. And leave us a rating and a review. So it was cool to hear from you guys. So I think that's it. Just get on with it. I don't want to leave my guests waiting too long. So one of their hosts was here a while back, only on the audio podcast. We had a lot of fun. We're going to talk about it a little bit. His co-host is here. So without further ado, the host of Wannabe Jedi Podcast, it's Matt, it's Josh. How you guys doing?
Good. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, always. It's always great talking to you guys. I've had the pleasure to be on your show before, talking about Dryden Boss. We had a lot of fun. I know Josh loves Solo. He loves talking about that.
Very much. And don't forget about Zeb.
No,
you were on our Zeb episode. That was our current season, and that was a fun episode to record with you. So
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Like I was saying, Matt, you were here back, I think it was our 25th episode last year, almost a year ago or something. So great to have you back here. So for our fans that haven't maybe know about your show, haven't seen you guys before, can you give us a quick kind of summary of what your show is about? Because yes, it's a Star Wars podcast, but it's not like this one. It's not like all the thousands of Star Wars podcasts out there that go week to week, talking about the latest news. What's your show about?
Yeah. So our show obviously is the Wannabe Jedi Podcast. We kind of focus on characters with every week. We take a look at one character, individual, kind of break it down, their storyline, where we think that they could appear again, how we felt about them, things like that. So it's a fun little show that we do, just around characters and have a good time. And Josh, is there anything else that I'm missing?
Right now, we talk about Bad Batch, but we talk about a little bit of specials and stuff like that, even about current events as you do, Alberto, but not as much. Our show is focused around characters, as Matt said. So, yeah.
Has there been any character that it surprised you when you started talking about that set character? Maybe you didn't feel one way or the other about a character, and then after the show, feelings change? I'm guessing there's one at least.
Aura Singh.
Aura Flippin' Singh.
Aura Flippin' Singh. We started out the episode, we're like, yeah, Aura Singh seems like a cool character. She has some like cool moments. And then like as we just kept progressing through the episode, Josh was like, I hate her. I hate her character.
Oh my
god. It was a good time.
Yeah.
It's a running joke now on the podcast. Anytime we can bring up Aura Singh, we do.
Yeah.
I'll know it. If I ever on your show again, I'll make sure to bring her up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Aura Singh, definitely.
Is there something specifically about her? Or was it just, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So really, she's a character that just, when talking about her story in completion, because I mean, the majority of where I've experienced her is through Clone Wars, as probably as many of you have. But at the same time, yeah, just when we talk about it chronologically and about how, you know, her story progressed and Boba Fett and all that fun jazz, it didn't like line up. And actually, when I watched the Clone Wars chronologically recently with my girlfriend, there were some discrepancies with the Aura Singh timeline, actually.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
and on top of that, the original concept for Aura Singh was Babe Fett. So
I just pushed that to the back of my head and forget about it.
I
will never be able to forget that. But yeah, so Aura Singh is definitely the character that surprised us the most.
All right. Yeah. I'll have to go back and check out. Was that early on your
season 2?
Season 2. Yeah.
I'll gotta go check that out. I just want to see Josh's
you'll
slowly descend to realizing that I made a bad mistake talking about this.
It's good. It's my favorite episode.
We got some good feedback from that episode, and yeah, it was. People loved my rant, but.
All right, don't give any more. We'll have to get on the people out there will have to just go find you, go check it out.
For sure.
So Josh, let's start with Matt real quick. Because I mentioned you were here when we did our 25th episode, where we talking about Disney Plus shows. If we were able to do a Disney Plus show back when only Mandalorian season 2 was still recording, so none of the new shows were announced, so we didn't know what type of show we would like out there. Do you remember what Disney Plus show you pitched that day?
I want to say it was. I think there was 2 options.
Yes.
I think the first one was around Solo 2, but having it be about the crime syndicates.
You pitched it a different way, but yes, that was
different way.
Your pitch was Breaking Bad in Star Wars.
Yes.
And then you went to the spies, and maybe Solo starting selling spies and having to deal with the bigger crime syndicates out there. You're still holding on to that. And then
I still kind of like that. I'd be down for it. And I think my other one that I probably mentioned was something with the Old Republic.
Yes.
Just knowing who I am. So
I went back. I didn't remember. So I went back and checked. The first one was Old Republic. Again, everyone wants Old Republic or some type of Old Republic stuff, even though we have the High Republic 200 years ago, old even further, obviously. And then I forgot about the Breaking Bad one, which caught me by surprise, but then you can explain a little bit. Because listening Breaking Bad in Star Wars is kind of weird, but when there's spice, there are other drugs there, so who knows? So for you, Josh, if you weren't, unfortunately, you weren't on that episode, if you were able, or what type of Disney Plus show, nothing has been announced so far, would you like to see out there? Any type of Star Wars TV show?
I mean, Matt is totally on the opposite end of me, but I'm really stoked for Obi-Wan or Kenobi. I'm just really stoked because Kenobi, I mean, it's, again, as similar with Luke, they're both like in my top 5 characters, and I just want to see that middle period between episode 3 and A New Hope. But I think Matt and I had this conversation about a couple weeks ago. I think that with The Mandalorian season 2, with the big reveal of Luke being at the end, and I kind of had a
spoilers, man.
Spoilers.
I'm sorry, but I kind of want to have some kind of filler for Luke. And again, I think I'm going to also pitch this idea. I'm going to answer with so that one, I mean, it's a little bit basic. That one's a little bit basic. But the other show idea that I would really like would be a mall or some kind of like with Plagueis, with Dooku, like before episode 1, and that kind of. And I know there's the the books out there as well, but something, yeah.
Finish it today.
I know, yeah. You look pretty far in that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, something just to add on to those characters, because I mean, we got them in Clone Wars and stuff like that, but just to see them on live action, or to see them again on the big screen would be really nice. So.
Yeah, so I'm just Dooku Jedi Lost by Kevin Scott. I just finished it yesterday. It's been out for a few years, and everyone loves this book. And granted, it's a great book. Goes Dooku's whole history. So a lot of what you're saying, right before Palpatine starts corrupting him, Palpatine maybe 3 sentences.
Yeah.
So there's a big gap, but it shows you his progression to the dark side, from being a Jedi apprentice to a Padawan to then a master. There's a lot of it. And then there's still that gap right before Phantom Menace, so that could be a great show. It goes to the dark side. We all want to learn more about it. We've always focused on the Jedi. Maybe go do something else. Let me make it real quick. Lauren Romo, we love Lauren. Thanks for being here, Lauren. She's saying Kenobi's going to be real good. I'm totally still Kenobi. Just we did our Disney Plus show. Matt said he wasn't. I think he didn't want to mess with the timeline and Vader and Kenobi in A New Hope, but
we'll see.
We're close now, Matt. There's nothing you can do about it. There's pictures out there now today, so
yeah.
Still,
I'm optimistic for it, but it's cautious. It's cautiously optimistic. I'm a little still worried about. I don't know if I need it to understand Kenobi more, but I don't think, like, at the same time as Josh has highlighted so many times, Ewan McGregor is going to be back. It's just going to be great to see him reprise the role. So I'm cautiously optimistic, I would say, at this point.
Okay. Are you okay? I don't remember if we talked that time about Vader being back and Anakin and all that stuff. Rumors out there. Of course, if you bring Kenobi, you got to bring Vader. We know Hayden Christensen is going to be in it. Are you still now? Is that even worse? Because are they going to meet? Does he backtrack on their conversation in A New Hope? We've seen now with the Bad Batch, they're not afraid to wiggle with canon a little bit, or retcon, as some people like to say. But
that's my favorite word, at least with the Ahsoka book.
That's good. This words we got just take away. Just stop. Don't talk about retcon. Just
I'm worried about it, but I also I don't see it being Hayden's gonna be back and they're gonna meet in person. I think it's gonna be the flashbacks kind of timeline. I think that's more what I'm anticipating will happen.
Yeah, and I hope that is. I still think that they're going to meet. Vader and Kenobi are going to meet somehow, I think. But I'm really interested in those flashbacks, because this has to be a character piece for Kenobi, just broken down in the desert. How does he come back from it? So having those flashbacks to kind of show all the emotions behind it are going to be great. So we'll see. Probably next year. So
we're probably going to get Order 66 again.
No.
Okay, so they're going to have to do a Order 66 with episode 3, with the season finale of Clone Wars, Bad Batch. What else? So there's other.
We're gonna the Kenobi series is gonna be a flashback to it again. There's any of the new series. There's just gonna be random callbacks to Order 66 just to make us feel pain again.
Order 66 is the new. I have a bad feeling about this. In Star Wars, there has to be some Order 66, Jedi dying, fans crying, and why?
Yeah,
I
love it.
All right, so I see you guys are repping your Wannabe Jedi Podcast T-shirts out there. Great designs. So, Josh, for you, and Matt, we'll let you talk about it also, even though you did it. It was way back. Can you go, Josh, through your whole, your Star Wars story? Do you remember first time watching it, and what got you so into Star Wars that you ended up, I have to do a Star Wars podcast?
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, let's, we'll start. As a kid, I think I got my first my first ever Star Wars item was actually a lightsaber, a Hasbro lightsaber. It was actually Qui-Gon Jinn's green one. And I actually didn't know what it was when I got it. And I'm like, I'm going to leave it. I left it in the basement somewhere. And then when I was like sleeping over at a friend's place, and he's watching Star Wars. He's watching all at the time, 6 of them back to back to back. And my dad, like, he's coming to pick us up, and he turns to my brother and I, and he's like, "You guys haven't seen Star Wars?" And he like has like a moment where he's like, "I need to show you guys Star Wars." Yeah. So from then on, we were hooked. We were playing episode 3. I mean, we were still kids when episode 3 came out. And I remember, getting like stickers and whatever of the Obi Annie fight. And so we would play like lightsabers out in the front yard. We would get like blasters, and my cousins in Boston would same thing. They would have these Star Wars Legos and everything. So we were just immersed in Star Wars. And again, I continue collecting Star Wars Legos, as I mentioned in the backstage, with some LED stuff. But yeah, so pretty much it continued. And then when, before COVID hit, and I just had like some kind of dream, or I had something where I wanted to talk with Matt.
Had a vision.
A vision. I had, it definitely was something that I wanted to do, because I have these skills with editing. I did stop motion Legos for the longest time, Star Wars Legos. And so I had a dream to talk about Star Wars on some kind of show with Matt, and then actually my other friend Carlos. But Carlos didn't want to, he didn't want this whole big scene. And Matt's like, he's turned to me. He's like, "Yeah, let's do this." So it ended up sparking the Wannabe Jedi podcast. And we are going strong for around season 3. So thank you for listening to my story. Yeah.
So 3 seasons doing Wannabe Jedi podcast, dozens of characters.
Mm-hmm.
Is there one that you're looking forward to recording soon, or one that I can't wait to talk about that character? Because I think first time I was there talking to you guys, there's hundreds of Star Wars characters, so you can go through forever and never run out. But at the same point, is it how obscure of a character you want to go? Have you done all the main ones? Is there one character out there that you can't wait to talk about? And who knows, maybe have an aura seeing kind of break?
I don't know. I mean, we did talk a little bit about Snoke. It's not like an official episode of Snoke, but we did talk a little bit about Snoke the other day. And I don't know, we kind of talked about how his character got cut short and stuff like that. But I mean, that wouldn't be...
Pun intended.
Yeah. Okay. Every time, I don't mean to be to do the pun intended, but it ends up being pun intended. Yeah. So consciously, it just wants me to make that joke. But I think, I don't know, Matt, do you have any characters that you outstanding have an eager to talk about during the season?
I don't think we talked Kylo Ren yet. If I have that right, I don't think we've talked about him. Granted, we're like almost 75 episodes in at this point, so it gets a little confusing. But I don't think we've talked Kylo. Yeah, and I'm interested in it because I think I'm kind of hoping that the longer we wait, we're going to get some more media of him in like books, maybe some form of TV shows, to kind of see his rise in the First Order or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. So I think we're kind of holding out intentionally because of it.
Is there Kylo? I can see that being a character that might be a bit intimidating to talk about, because there's so many emotions out there when you talk about Kylo and Solo. Mm-hmm. Is that one of the reasons you haven't touched upon it yet, or is there a character that you say, not yet? That character might be too controversial, or
There's one, Ahsoka. We've held off on Ahsoka.
So that's one of the first that I would assume. Oh, we gotta do an Ahsoka show because everyone loves her for the most part.
We love Ahsoka. I'm a big Ahsoka fan. But we were gonna do it for season 3. And then they announced the Ahsoka show. And so we're like, we gotta wait. Yeah. We gotta wait. We gotta see what her character becomes so we can really examine it. But yeah, Ahsoka, I'd say Ahsoka is the one that we're waiting super intentionally because of the new show coming out.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know, sorry. Yeah, no, I know we haven't talked about Leia, but we're waiting for like a good spot for Leia, even though, her story is
it It might be the season finale,
Breaking news here.
season 3.
Spoilers.
Spoilers thing down here.
Yeah.
I mean, we can keep going talking about it. So before we start talking about Bad Batch, that's what we're here for the most part. Let's say hi to a few people. We have our friend Michael from the 2 Networks, and he would try Spice once. Good luck. I wouldn't suggest it. Not that I know anything about it, but who knows?
Probably expensive.
Yeah. I mean, if you know a dealer, who knows? So Lauren, we're talking about retcon. She goes on to say retcon is such a weird thing, in my opinion. I don't think they really do it to the degree that some believe they do. I can't talk too much about it. I haven't read the Ahsoka novel. I didn't read the Kanan comic book and the novel that he has when he meets Hera. I forget the name of it. But those are the things that people say have been retconned a little bit. Siege of Mandalore and the Ahsoka novel, and then the way Order 66 happens. For Kanan, for me, at least for Kanan, Order 66 still happens in the same planet. Depa Pilava, unfortunately, see you. Thanks for your.
Tugging with our heartstrings.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I don't think if they retcon because there wasn't a fire pit or whatever, I don't know that affects the story. But again, I'm not connected to that storyline to be able to say it. Then I see on myself, because I do kind of, don't mess with the canon too much. But then for example, talking about Loki for Marvel that just dropped, a lot of people, the TVA changes the whole thing about the Infinity Stones and the timelines or whatever. And I'm like, I don't care. Just give me a good story. That thing doesn't matter. But if it's for Star Wars, I'm like, what? No. Kenobi and Vader can't meet too close together because he said last time we met, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. We have that connection to Star Wars, but at the same time, if the story's there and it improves it, then who cares? Am I crazy? Probably.
I'm kind of with you though on that. Like if it's a good storyline, I can overlook it. It's when it kind of gets into, for example, really affecting the timeline. Like one of the big things of why I didn't trust Rebels at first was because they had, kind of that world between worlds space travel, or time travel. Sorry, space travel.
I remember when I was watching it, like when it came out, and Matt was like, "Oh, I'm never gonna watch Rebels because of the space time travel world between worlds," and now it's his favorite show. So.
Favorite episode.
Not my favorite episode. I stand by that's not my favorite episode, but it is a good episode. I actually do enjoy it.
Took me a while. When I saw World Between Worlds live or whatever, I thought, okay, it's great. Is it Star Wars? I don't know. But the more you think about it, yes, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But again, you gotta use it to bring Ben Solo
Ahsoka.
back.
Ahsoka. That's all we need to know.
Yeah.
Have faith in Dave Filoni. That's.
We're gonna keep going. It's gonna be a different show. I mean, I can change the title. Anyway, when you talk about your show, you guys brought up Kylo, you brought up Ahsoka, and our friend Lauren. Hey, if you need someone to talk Kylo, to talk Ahsoka, she's open. I was able. Lauren was here back when our second season of episode 2. Her and her co-hosts were here. The Galactic podcast was here. We got a great show talking about droids. One of the best people out there. So if you can get her, I think you've had them on your show before, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
And Andrea. Yeah. All right. So I think we've kind of lollygag around it. All right. So let's go ahead. If you guys are ready, I'm not ready. Let's talk Star Wars. And today we start talking the Bad Batch, episode 7, Battle Scars. So before we get into it, I can see Josh. Sorry, I can see. Okay, real quick. You like the episode? You love it?
I love the episode.
All right, we'll get there in a minute.
Yeah, I'm not gonna steal.
I've been kind of here and there. Mm-hmm. When Bad Batch was announced about a year ago, so when they said they were gonna do the next animated show is gonna be the Bad Batch, were you guys excited for it? Were you big Clone Wars fans? Want this arc finished? Then you saw season 7. We finally met the Bad Batch, and now the show. Were you excited for it, or kind of lukewarm?
I was excited for it. Matt might have a different story. It's usually a different story.
It's usually a different opinion. Yeah, I I liked it. I was again cautiously optimistic. It wasn't like I needed this storyline, but what we've gotten so far, it's been enjoyable. So I'm here for the ride of it. I like Rex. So seeing Rex back is always I know that's maybe a little bit of spoilers as we're going into it, but he was on the picture, so I could talk about it. So I was excited with the episode and the prospect of Rex coming back, which he did.
Okay. So yeah, I wasn't too excited for it. I said it here before when it was announced, even when the first trailer came out, I was extremely excited for the Bad Batch. I wanted to move away from this timeline. We had 7 seasons basically of the Clone Wars. We have Rebels, Solo, Rogue One, all this right there. So I wanted to move away. Mm-hmm. When they said Bad Batch, I'm like, no. Plus, I really didn't connect to them in that final season of Clone Wars. By episodes 3 or 4, you start getting used to the characters and all that, but I wasn't too excited. First episode drop, loved it. So, yes, Filoni, like you said, Star Wars animation hasn't missed yet. So, even though I wasn't too excited for it, I had good hopes. And so far, it had hit all those notes for me. Past few episodes, at least for me, even though the episodes have been good, my enthusiasm has gone down a little bit because it's turning more, I should say it's turning, at least to me, it feels more closer to Clone Wars, which is what I didn't want. And it kind of moved away from those first 2 episodes, setting up the growth of the Empire, Crosser going his separate way, trying to hunt them down. And then that storyline has kind of been pushed to the side. And we're just running these characters week to week. And that has drawn me out a little bit. Any issues for you guys? You're still loving this season, very excited for the second half?
I'll just raise my hand now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I am enjoying it, but I think I said this on the last episode of our specials. Mm-hmm. It feels a little cookie cutter to me. I'm going to be honest. It reminds me so much of Mandalorian season 1.
Yes.
A family, quote unquote, that picks up a child and has to learn how to take care of a child while space hopping from planet to planet on the run. It's complete parallel to Mandalorian season 1. So I've been waiting for Filoni to throw that wrench in it, change things up. And I wasn't necessarily expecting what we got with this episode. I thought it was a little early. I know that that's been what people have talked about a lot on Star Wars Twitter, which you should avoid. But it felt a little early, and honestly, it didn't build up as big as I thought. Like, we kept hinting at Wrecker's headaches, and we knew that something was going to happen with it, but it didn't feel as high stakes. When I was watching the episode, I was like, well, we know that someone's going to stun him, and then he's going to get the operation, and he's probably going to survive. Like, I gave it like a 98% chance that he was going to survive. Right. So it's still predictable right now.
Okay, we'll go back to that. As we go more into the episode, we'll talk about Wrecker's transformation, and then if it was too easy that they brought him back from the dark. For you, Josh, any of those same feelings that Matt has? Because when I was on break when the Bad Batch started, so when I came back, I talked about the first 4 episodes, and I think by the end of the 4th one, I kind of mentioned, is it too similar to Mandalorian? Because the same thing, it's group of mercenaries that we think are just the baddest people out there, same as Mando, find this child, and now they have to protect them. Someone is after them, and they have no idea why, and they have to find a way to keep them safe. Is it too similar to Mando? Is it still a little bit different? Mm-hmm. First 2 episodes of the season, I think, are different enough, but the last 3 have been very similar to what we saw, like you said, Matt, on Mando season 1. Mm-hmm. We hope not just Filoni, but the whole team behind this kind of has something else for us. For you, Josh, are you okay with it? Any concerns about it so far?
So I agree with you both. And I mean, I'm excited. I was excited for today's episode. I had a feeling that they were going to have Rex come in at this episode because Matt and I were talking about the last couple episodes where they've been kind of slow, and it's, they've just been doing jobs, like you said, with Mandalorian season 1. And yeah, I enjoyed, from what we've had so far, I enjoyed this episode a lot. And I'm glad, Captain Rex is back, and he was able to help the crew out with removing their chips. And again, I'm going to take on, what Matt said. I agree that, when Wrecker they were going to put him in stasis to get his chip removed, and then he ends up, complying with Order 66. So yeah, and then we knew that he was going to be fine. I mean, it'd be really interesting if it was. I always think about this take where Crosshair is the first one. He complied with Order 66 and he left, and then maybe Wrecker, like if each one was leaving at like some time period because their inhibitor chips were going. I mean, this is all like my fan fiction with this because. But yes, no, I did enjoy the episode, but I am ready for Crosshair to come back to fulfill that arc or fulfill the story of the Bad Batch. Yeah. And I think it's going to happen soon because, I mean, spoilers, I think the Empire is going to be showing up soon.
I hope they do. So we mentioned already Rex. Rex was a big surprise. So last week, everything on social media for Star Wars, who's that person at the end? Who's the Mortez's sister contact? Is it Rex? Some people had it out there. Is it Bail Organa? Is it Ahsoka? Maul? 20 different versions. Do you guys have any theories out there before you show today's episode? When you saw last week's, were you theorizing out there like the rest of us? Or
I'm going to say no. I thought it was Rex from initially. I mean, I was on TikTok and I saw a bunch of people's theories, but Matt, since he doesn't watch the trailers and I've watched the trailers, I knew it was Rex. It was time. So Matt, what did you think?
I don't theorize on what characters are going to appear. I theorize on what planet they'll be at.
That's true.
I actually called Ord Mantell before they went to Ord Mantell. Just pure shot in the dark, and I got it right. So I stick my gambling of what's going to happen next to what planet it'll be.
Okay.
Did you know they're going to go to Braca?
No, I did not. I did not call that one.
In the back of my mind, I'm sorry to go on this little tangent, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, Cal Kestis is on that planet at the same time they are.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true. Crossover event of the century right now.
Yeah, I was waiting to see if there was like a Cal Kestis kind of
moment.
Yeah, little placement there.
So I was gonna wait till later and bring it up, but you guys brought up Braca, Jedi Fallen Order. I'm guessing you guys have played the game. I haven't, but I've seen the stories. Everyone tells me to play, but I don't.
100%.
Were you surprised to see this planet, to see Braca, and what was your reaction? Like you just said, Josh, is Cal Kestis there? What can this mean for the future? When you saw Braca, and it was mentioned by name, it's not like, oh, is that Braca? And it was mentioned. You jumped up and down. What was your reaction?
Yeah, I was tapping my girlfriend's like leg. I'm like, it's Braca, it's Braca, it's from Jedi Fallen Order, and she's like, calm down.
I'm very happy that they didn't bring Cal in right now. To me, I've talked about it so many times. Expand the universe. I think it's okay to use the same planets, but you don't need to have everyone know each other. So I think it was very smart to not bring in Cal here. You don't need to have him know it. Just being on the same planet and having, as Josh is doing, freaking out, having a great time, enjoying Star Wars. That's enough. That's enough for Star Wars fans.
Okay. So you mentioned Ord Mantell. So this episode starts in Ord Mantell, same as the last one, with Sid, the great Trandoshan out there. And then we have the mysterious character with his hood, great nod to Lord of the Rings, just sitting back there like Strider in the first movie, just sitting there with the hood down. And then Rex shows up and he mentions, I'm just keeping a low profile with his clone trooper armor. It's not really low profile. 2 episodes ago, when they were in Pantora, when they met Fennec Shan, Wrecker wants to go out there. Hunter says, no, they'll know who you are. You're too out there. People will know you. I'll go out. The guy with a half-face skull tattoo, the red bandana, he sticks out everywhere. And now Captain Rex with his clone trooper armor, I'm keeping a low profile. what's going on with clones and not knowing what low profile really means? Are they just they're gonna see you eventually, right?
It's in their programming, you know. It's got to be in their programming. They're like, we just got to always look in our armor best. You never know.
I mean, let's take it from this viewpoint. So he did have rags when he was on an inhabited planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when they were on Braca, they kind of expected that nobody was going to be there except for the Scrap Guild, you know, seeing them at the end. But yeah, I think they just, I mean, I think the animators just want to show off their skills with the clone trooper armor because, I mean, it does look good. So
it does, and that's one thing I'll share about this show. It looks great. The animation is awesome. Every episode shows you something new. I just love the animation of the show, even if the story for me, some of them don't hit. Just visually, the show is very striking.
Mhm.
So they get to Braca that we mentioned, and then Wrecker starts having his headaches. He's been having headaches since the second episode or something. Once Crosser shot him in the head. I always thought they were kind of emphasizing it too much, and it was it's too easy that he's going to turn. Something else is going to happen. Were you always believing that sooner or later Wrecker's chip was going to activate and he's going to wreck shop for the whole batch?
Yeah.
yeah.
We kind of figured it. It was like they were like basically like doing a nice little layup for us, and all we had to do was slam it home, sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, we did kind of think that Omega was going to be able to help with removing the chip, which we ended up, you know, getting it wrong because it was Rex that was doing it. And even Echo helped with, you know, calibrating the machine. And even, I mean, Tech too. But yeah, I think it was, I do want to add this, that I think I calculated that Wrecker got hit in the head like almost 10 times or around there between like all the episodes.
Yeah.
I relate to that one a lot.
Yeah, but Matt has the concussion stuff. So.
Man, but every episode, like you said, oh, my head hurts. Walk it off. We're fine.
Walk it up.
You know something's happening. And Tech was working on that scanner since about episode 3. And he just kind of, you're fine. You're scared of heights, climb those stairs and go to the top point. We don't care that you're scared of heights. Just go over this chasm. You'll be fine. Headaches, whatever.
Yeah.
But we talked a little bit at the beginning talking about once his inhibitor chip turned on, how quickly in 5-10 minutes, it kind of was over. They stun him, remove the chip. Was that a surprise to you guys? I was thinking, if Wrecker really turns to Order 66, the record from Clone Wars Season 7 that was knocking 30 droids with no problem, they're going to have a real problem on their hands. And yeah, he kind of choked out 2 of the Bad Batch, but it was fairly quick, I should say, that they were able to stun him and remove the chip. Was that a surprise? Did you expect this to go maybe 1 or 2 episodes with this?
I thought that... I don't know. I thought that Wrecker would be like the first of many. And I do want to ask you this question, Alberto, because Matt and I have talked about this. Do you feel that like Hunter is the main focus of the season? Because it feels like, I mean, Wrecker, he used to, like you said, mow down a bunch of droids and everything with ease. And then Tech was the brains of the operation, and Echo's getting a little bit more light, but do you feel like some of the characters are taking a back seat behind this Omega arc? I don't mean to deter you from the other question, but
no.
I just feel like that question needs to be answered before we can answer the next one.
It's not the first guest to try to take over my show.
Me too. I want to get your take on it because Matt and I have talked about it.
So I think, I don't know. Yes, I'm going to say yes. I think starting by bringing Echo in, Tech immediately takes a backseat because now Tech and Echo share a very similar role, which is the droid of the group. Yeah, they have Gunky over there, but he does nothing. He's a gun droid. Sorry to everyone that loves gun droids. He's, okay, whatever. He's in the corner. But Clone Wars Season 7, what I love about the Bad Batch by the end of it was Tech. Because once I saw him, he's the droid of the group, I took a liking to him as we do all droids. You bring Echo into this first episode, you're more machine now than man. he's now serving as the droid one with even his little connection to every power source out there. I think Tech and Echo are sharing a lot of a similar role, which I do love those two characters together, especially in the first few episodes. So that kind of diminishes Tech's storyline a little bit. He's just there for a little bits. Oh yeah, of course we can do that. It's easy, or no, that's too difficult. Give me more minutes. But Echo hasn't done this, so their storyline kind of has been pushed to the back. They don't have a lot to do with Omega. Yes, take the comlink for the comlink for Omega that episode. Apart from that, there hasn't been a real connection. Echo kind of showed her a little bit how to use that energy bow last week. There hasn't been a lot between them. It's been mostly Hunter and Wrecker. Hunter at the beginning, now Wrecker. I mean, he had to be the focus coming into the last 2 or 3 episodes because they wanted us, I guess, to have that emotional connection to him. And then trying to kill Omega, of course, it's gonna trigger that. So I think the first 2 episodes, Hunter was the dad, right? We also Hunter as Omega's dad, Wrecker is the fun uncle, which I now see him more as a big brother, the two of them. So I think, especially Echo and Tech has taken a back step to the Omega storyline, which I guess is the main story of the season, which I still having some issues with the storyline because I don't know what the storyline is. But now that Wrecker's kind of thing has come and gone, it'll be interesting to see how they move forward with all those characters. So let's bring on Rebels real quick. So there's 5 or 6 of the Rebels group, of that Ghost crew. A lot of times there's in different missions. So the 3 of you are going to go in this mission and we don't see the other guys till the end. So you're focused on those 3. Right now, every episode is the 5 Bad Batch plus Omega, or I guess Omega is the 5th one with Crosser out. And it's hard in 25 minutes to give all 5 enough of a room. So they focus on Omega, Hunter, and Wrecker. Yeah, everything suffers. Rex comes out. He takes over the show, obviously. So yeah, I guess it's a difficult balance. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that answers your question. I think
that
they've taken a back step. I don't remember what question I asked that prompted you.
I'm sorry. You asked if we suspected that Wrecker would do some damage, and I feel called out. But yeah, no. So Matt,
I anticipated it from the get-go. As soon as the first failed stun attempt went, I was like, okay. And then Omega is supposed to hide. I was like, okay, he's gonna find her. It's gonna be backed into a corner. I basically was like, this is how it's gonna end, and it is. I mean, like I said, it feels very. I'm waiting for the wrench right now. I'm waiting for the wrench in the season and in the arcs.
And I thought I mentioned this last week because I thought the Wrecker inhibitor chip was too kind of head on. But then I said, it's got to happen anyways. They're not going to do a bait and switch. But I thought it was going to be maybe later on in the season where Crosser comes back. A lot of people are thinking that Crosser might switch back to the Bad Batch. I want him to stay bad because I just love him that way. I thought that once Wrecker turned evil, or his inhibitor chip turned, that something was going to happen in Crosser, then he would be the one to turn both of them back to the light side, or whatever you want to call it. That didn't happen. It happened this week. Mm-hmm. Hopefully next week we have the return of Crossers, the Empire, and then that storyline kind of starts moving. And we'll see some of those kind of wrenches that you're talking about, Matt. So talking about Omega, or Omega, if you want to have that accent, how was that emotional bit for you guys? Did it hit when first we see Omega and Wrecker going out for that popcorn, that Martell mix? Then Wrecker tries to kill her after she tries to shoot him to stop him from choking out Hunter. Why didn't he just finish Hunter off and then go get Omega? Why did he stop? Anyway, I sized that. And then at the end, she says, no, I'm staying here till he wakes up. A lot of people, again, I know you guys are trying to stay away from Star Wars Twitter, which is, I got to learn to do that. A lot of people were they love this part. Oh, Megan Wrecker is so emotional that for me, okay, it's fine. I expected it. Did you feel that emotional connection between the two of them during this episode?
I do like where they've taken it with that big brother, little sister type of relationship. For me, I didn't necessarily feel that emotional connection with that moment, but I can understand why people are taking it that way. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good moment. I thought, he's a scary dude, and obviously he was very, very close to killing her. And the fact that she's still willing to be by his side because she recognizes that it was the chip. It wasn't like, she's very mature. Mm-hmm. So I think it more spoke to her maturity level than their relationship.
Okay.
I agree with that, as well as, I'm going to take a little psychology or educational psychology in here. First of all, I thought that, I thought Omega would actually be a little bit traumatized from the moment. And I was surprised to see when she was like, yeah, I'm sticking by Wrecker's side. And again, to take into what Matt said, yeah, that takes in a lot of maturity to not be scared of the person who almost tried to kill you. And yeah, even though we've talked about Omega when she was fresh off of Camino, and how she was like a blank slate, and she's learning all these new things about the universe or the galaxy, but now she's showing that more mature side, and she's still learning. Don't get me wrong, she's still learning. So yeah, it was definitely surprising to see. But the overall relationship, I'm a fan of it, but it seemed a little. I mean, we got a little buildup, if I recall correctly, but at the same time, it's not like a dad hunter and Omega relationship that we've seen throughout the episodes. But
so as we start wrapping up our Bad Batch talk, let's finish up with Omega, at least these thoughts. I know you guys don't like theorizing too much, especially you, Matt, but when Omega came out at the first episode, second episode, there were a lot of theories out there what her, not point, but she's a clone. She's an enhanced clone like them. Is this something Palpatine is working with? Will this tie to Snoke and Rise of Skywalker and all the cloning that Palpatine is doing? Do you guys have a theory or had one when you first saw Omega, what her big story is going to be in Star Wars or her big plot point? Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, initially a lot of people were saying that she was going to be Force sensitive or some kind of nature of that. I don't see it because we would probably have gotten some kind of build up for it already or some kind of hint to it. But I think it's some kind of emotion, like empathy or something like that, where she can see the different sides of, I don't know, and how that is an enhancement, maybe not military strategic where it's, in combat, but maybe behind the scenes where you have to be a little bit more empathetic for people. So yeah, I don't know. Matt, what do you think?
I kind of am with Josh on it. I didn't have one off the start, but what I've kind of seen and adapted this like kind of thought is her ability to kind of, as it were, be able to think like a human and not a machine. Because a lot of the clones are programmed that way to be killing machines in essence. So I think that it's really helpful that she's a part of the squad and being able to be like a human. Like I think her enhancement is that she's just like a regular human. Okay. I think that makes her special because it allows her as the squad to start to adapt to regular life.
All right. I'm sure we'll get something. I was in the boat after seeing a lot of comments that she might be force sensitive. She kind of mimic a lot of the Bad Batch movement in those first couple of episodes. Out there, a lot of pictures about she moving the same way that Hunter does when he tells everyone to stop and some of that. So I thought she was some type of mimic or something, or force sensitive because she could see a few seconds ahead and then just kind of mimic people. But yeah, there hasn't been anything really out there for Grogu that you have back there, Josh. By the second episode of Mandalorian, he was already using the Force, so we knew he was out there. So we're just just talk to us about your plushes out there. We talked a little bit about it before we started. Who are those guys back there?
So the top one is Mr. Trucifer. It's so actually my girlfriend got him for me, and so they didn't have Whack-A-Mole, or Baby Wacky, because his ears whack you. They didn't have those yet, so she got me Mr. Trucifer, and then we have Baby Wacky, as I said, and then actually in the other room we have Cookie the Wookie. So we have
Cookie the Wookiee.
Cookie the Wookiee. We have 3 Squishmallows, and they're
All right. I'm sorry, my headphones just died, so
oh, okay.
more like this now. I was supposed to charge them before this, but I thought they'll be fine.
They'll survive. Yeah.
We'll be okay. So again, let's finish now up. The episode ends after all of them are able to remove their inhibitor chips, which for some reason they waited for Wrecker to wake up instead of just do them in a row and then everyone can recuperate at the same time. But it ends, and then Rex is talking to someone outside, tells them, hey, just meet me at the rendezvous point, talk to Hunter a little bit, episode ends, the Scrapper Guild see them. It's Rex talking to the Mortet sister. Is it obvious? Is he talking to Ahsoka now? Does it matter? What do you guys think? Because every episode, and that's one of the things that's going to push me off a little bit. Each episode ends with this, oh, who's out there? Who is anyone talking to? And I don't care. Just give me the story.
Yeah.
Is he talking to the Mortet sister because we already saw them? Or there's no name, so is this Ahsoka? And then will Ahsoka now come at some point in the Bad Batch?
Well, I think about where we saw Rex when we met him on Rebels again. So I think he's still looking for more decommissioned clones, clones that will get their inhibitor chips removed or
Gregor
close
and
to
Wolf.
it. Yeah, Gregor and Wolf. Like we might get. I'm not saying it's Gregor and Wolf, but I think that he could be in communication with with the sisters trying to figure out another set of clones, or it's going to be another contact that he has in the underworld to find, other clones and help them out. That's where I'm kind of at, but I don't think it's Ahsoka.
Yeah, I'm not sure Ahsoka's going to be on the show because I think I'm not sure again if bringing in the Ahsoka novel if that is officially canon. I'm not gonna go into it, but yeah, definitely because of the retcon stuff. I just want to add that in. But no, I don't think Ahsoka's gonna be in there again. We've talked about Commander Cody trying to. I would love for Commander Cody to be on the show, and
Cody, keep Cody. I hate that guy.
He's such a reg. He's such a reg.
He's such a reg.
Worst way.
I just want to know his canon story because in Legends he was one of the officers that trained the stormtroopers, and that's not really. It's exciting, but not that exciting compared to what they could do now. So,
do you think he'll show up in the Kenobi series? Trying to finish one.
You know what? You just blew my mind. I just want to say that you blew my mind.
Thank you.
I would actually prefer for him to be in the Kenobi series than Bad Batch. Now that you say that,
yeah, trying to fix his easy mistake, didn't kill Obi-Wan, couldn't leave one clone. He's gonna be down there. Just wait till he comes out for breath. No, let's wrap it up. We gotta go back to Coruscant and party this Order 66, and then everything happened.
Gotta celebrate Empire Day.
Maybe it was deep down his internal, how the clones have their internal fighting against Order 66. Maybe it was just his will to let Kenobi go.
No,
or the will of the Force.
It was the Force. It was the Force.
All right. So as we end up the Bad Batch, you mentioned, man, maybe Rex has another connection in the underworld that he's talking to. Any chance this connection might be Aura Singh, and she justifies herself in Josh's
eyes? 100% yes. That must happen now. Aura Singh must come back for Josh.
Yeah, you gotta do then a follow-up episode and take back everything you said about her.
Okay, I'm gonna bring in some Solo because my thoughts on Solo. Yeah, I would rather see Beckett take care of Aura Singh than.
Wow.
He does.
He does. So... We know he does.
All right. I think that's enough.
Yeah, that's enough.
So we're still looking forward to the second half of the season. I cannot mention I've been on a little low, but I think, again, I trust the team behind this. Star Wars Animation has always hit it out of the park, so still hoping for a good end to the season. Anything else Bad Batch related before we move on to our second topic today?
Let's just keep on going with this the flow of the Bad Batch. I'm telling you, just everybody out there, I hope they have this they don't go back to the filler episodes. But that's all I have.
Filler is even worse than retcon. What are you doing to me, Josh?
I'm sorry.
All right, let's just go. So let's talk some Star Wars news. It's been a while since we've done the news.
Star Wars news.
Yeah, let's do it. So Star Wars news, and this week, surprise, not really. There was a few reports. It was about Thursday or something. I think it came from the playlist. An interview they're doing with Andor actor, Swedish actor, was doing a Swedish radio interview. Stellan Skarsgård, who we don't know who he's going to play in the Andor series, did what a lot of Star Wars actors do out there, and let's spill that he had a few scenes with Forrest Whitaker, aka Saw Gerrera himself.
Wow.
So at least myself, I kind of hope Saw to be in this. Saw Gerrera continues his streak of trying to be the character that appears in every Star Wars media out there. Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, Rogue One, books, now Kenobi. So Saw Gerrera is going to be here. Makes sense.
Fallen Order too.
Fallen Order.
Yeah.
So when you heard this, are you guys excited to see Saw Gerrera? Has his story been told already, and why is he the character that shows up everywhere? What do you think about this story, I guess?
I am in the camp of kind of expected, maybe not with season 1, but I was kind of in the camp of it's probably going to happen, simply because they said that they've been trying to get in touch with Saw, and that he used to be affiliated with the Rebels to some degree, and then he kind of went on his own and kind of became more radical, as it were. So I kind of expected some form of Saw to be in there. But I am also in the camp that he's in a lot of media and he seems to know everyone. Yeah. Everyone.
So it goes against what you said before, then give us new characters.
Expand the universe.
We know this story, expand the universe. Doesn't have to be the same 10 characters knowing everyone.
Yep.
Josh, excited for Saw Gerrera?
At this point, I'll just take what I can get with Saw because he's in everything. And I mean, I think they're just trying to like check him off the list. It's like, okay, new show. Okay, we got Saw Gerrera. We're good.
First 2 or 3 episodes too, every single time. It's like, this is a familiar character, so you like these new characters too. Yeah.
I mean, I think they do need to bring in that radicalist, that idea, Saw Gerrera's ideals and how it differs against the rebellion. I think that's what they're trying to get when they bring in his character.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about it a little bit more, because our question today has to do with Saw Gerrera, his extremist view. So we'll bring him back in a few minutes. I agree. I really love Saw Gerrera in Rogue One, where he shows up. The Catalyst novel has a lot of Saw in it, especially it's basically a prequel for Rogue One. So it's going to be interesting to see how much it plays with the Galen Erso story. Are we going to see Galen Erso? I will Enfys Nest maybe again. Sorry, just Solo, but she's there even at the end of the Solo novelization. Enfys Nest goes to Saw Gerrera to give him the coaxium. There's a baby or a young Jyn Erso there. Can we see something like that? So yes, it's exciting, but I understand both your points. It's, okay, where can we put Saw Gerrera? We see him in everything. He's probably in the background in A New Hope. I know he's dead. He might be back there anyway somehow. There's a statue of Saw Gerrera.
His Force Ghost. His Force Ghost appeared.
Ghost.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, we'll see. It's exciting. It's not surprising because of the time period. Like you mentioned, Matt, they've been looking for him by the time of Rogue One. So we'll see. And following with Andor, this report comes from the Direct, is that Ben Mendelsohn will, and I should say, all these are rumors. Nothing is confirmed. We'll see if it happens. The Saw Gerrera, if another actor kind of spilled it, has a little bit more weight to it. This is just a rumor from the Direct saying that Ben Mendelsohn is coming to reprise our favorite white cape wearing captain or director out there, Orson Krennic. So excited for Orson. I mean, it makes sense. We're seeing the birth of the rebellion, so we need to see the Empire side of it also. Do you want to see more Orson Krennic out there?
I think it depends how it's played in the storyline. because I never gathered that Cassian and Krennic met prior. So I think it depends how they bring him back into the storyline. I'm interested in it because I did like him as a bad guy. I thought he was pretty good, pretty evil. So I was a fan of it. So of him, I should say. So I'm interested to see more, but I'm gonna hold until it's confirmed.
Yeah.
I like Krennic, and I'm excited to see again. As Matt said, he's a great bad guy. he was a good bad guy.
A good bad guy. Yeah.
Sorry, good bad guy. And yeah, I think that having him back in Star Wars is phenomenal, as well as I'm trying to think is Thrawn. I mean, Thrawn and they're on different projects, but is there a potential for Thrawn?
Yeah, I mean, you bring in Rebels. I always get my timelines confused when I'm live, but I think Rebels is a little bit closer to Rogue One that this series is going to be. Yeah. But who knows? I know at this point he's trying to build the Death Star. He's having issues with it. If we follow the Catalyst novel, he's working very closely with Galen. So will he come back and have a little bit more? And we'll see Lyra Erso in there also. So there's a lot of potential for Krennic because we know it's a big span to get that Death Star built. So there's a lot of story they can do with him. I do want to see that Empire side because we've always seen just the Rebellion. We don't touch too much on the Empire side. And I will see just the Empire growing as we're seeing now in the Bad Batch. But see the other side, see that people are just, hey, I need work. I need to go work over there. I want to see that side of it. And Orson Krennic makes sense because he's the one leading this project until Tarkin comes and just, hey, thank you, it's mine. So
good old Tarkin.
Tarkin. You think would we see another DH Tarkin in Rogue One in this Andor series?
If Krennic is back, I think that there's a decent chance that we could see more Tarkin. But again, that's if Krennic is back. It depends how much they go into the Empire.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So that does it for our main part of the show. Now comes one of my favorite parts that we always try to do here is listen from you guys. And today we're talking Rebel Thoughts. And our question of the week comes from our friends from the 60 Minutes podcast. And their question is, do you think we'll get to see some of the headaches Sauce militants caused for the rebellion that Mon Mothma hinted at in Rogue One? So, Matt, let's start with you because you did mention a little bit when we started talking about Saw Gerrera. They've been trying to get in contact with him. In Rogue One, we hear from Mothma. Yeah, he was part of rebellion. He has this rebel cell out there. The militants, the extremists. That's not the way we're trying to get through to the people out there. We saw a little bit about it, I guess, in the conversation. I think it's in Rebels, his hologram telling Mothma, yeah, the way you're going about it is not the right way. Do you think we'll get more of that in this Cassian series? Because I do believe that Mothma has been official that she's going to appear.
Yeah, I believe that we will kind of see, as it says down below, a feud. I do think we are going to kind of see that feud, see how they differ, and we kind of already saw glances of it in
Rebels.
all the different media that there are, and that is a little bit before we actually see Saw fully. Seesaw. See what I did there? Sorry, I had to. So yes, I do think we will see the feud. I think we'll start to see with Saw working together, and then it'll branch out to be where they like, whoa, this guy's kind of. I can't whistle fully, but I did the cuckoo sound. So
I agree. I think that I'm just. Everything, the one moment that keeps on replaying in my head is from Rebels, where Mon Mothma is just, she's actually passionate, like yelling at Saw through the droid hologram. I think that just if they have that passion that they've shown in Rebels, like if Mon Mothma has that passion for against or that feud against saw, then I think that would be really, really cool. I mean, just to see the depth of the actor and actress.
Yeah. Right there with you guys. Not really much to add to it. If Saw's there, the beginning of the rebellion or the revolution, like Cassian says, it has to happen. We've seen it a little bit in other medias, but not that rift when it actually happens and he goes off on his own. I think we're gonna see it. Very excited to see Andor. I've always been excited for the Andor series, so hopefully he's on all those levels. All right, so I think that's gonna do it for our show today. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you for having us.
We always have a good time when we get together and talk a little bit.
That's
so true. For friends here listening to this out there, watching this later, whenever, where can they find you, your podcast, social media, everything?
Yeah. You can find us on all of the major podcast directories out there. We're Wannabe Jedi Podcast. So you can find us there. Our social medias are Wannabe Jedi Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and Wannabe Jedi Cast on Twitter. And you can connect with us there.
And you can also find us on our website at www.wannabejedi-podcast.com.
All right. Again, thank you guys for being here. For myself, if you're watching this or listening to this, I think you know how to find me. If not, Twitter and Instagram at Radio Rebel Pod. Live streams every Saturday at 5 p.m. And then the audio podcast comes out on Mondays on all your podcast listening devices, I guess. So for our friends, Wannabe Jedi Cast, again, thank you for being here. Thank you to everyone for listening. As always, stay safe, be safe, and may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
Radio Rebellion.